I had a bit of a flashback there, Geoff, to 2 years ago when I decided to tell my story of, you know, heroin overdose and addiction. So, and for people to look at me, that's the last thing they would expect.
Yeah.
But when I was doing this Ironman race, it just came out, and there was the night before we were going to release this, and I had all this fear, and I was just like, you know, how was everyone going to deal with it? And I hadn't told my wife for 16 years. I hadn't told anybody, Geoff. And then finally we released it, and because I knew it was the right thing to do, because it was going to help a lot of people.
Yeah. And
it did. It was a wash of people with all the same stories and family members, and it just all came. But there was that moment where it was literally terrifying.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
I'm sure the reason I did that probably was planted seeds. Maybe even some of your stuff.
Yeah.
You know, told me that it was going to be okay. You know, so when
I think it's intercessionary, Brian. They call it intercessionary writing. So your work will go out there, your story. If you tell it from an honest place, which you do, and I do, then it'll act as an intercession in somebody's life. They will receive it at a specific time. That will, you know, well, you've known yourself from your own stories that it can stop someone from committing suicide. It can stop someone from making the wrong decision. It can interrupt their life and take them on a completely new path. We had a lovely story about Romans, because I said to the lads, look, all we need to do with this, with Paul and Ludwig, I said, all we need to do with Romans is tell the truth, and we need to protect the truth. And when we put it out there, I can't tell Orlando that it's going to do well or that it's going to win awards. I've got no idea what this film wants to do, only that it's got its own soul, and that once we've done everything we can do, that was a lovely line from Pope Innocent said to St. Francis. He said, I expect you to do everything. No, I said, I only expect you to do what is possible, but you must do all of it. So I said, we've got to do everything we can possibly do, and then we've got to let go of it. What it does after that is not up to us. I said, but it will go out and it will work and it will touch people that we will never meet. We don't need to meet them. We just have to trust that the truth will go out and it will find its path. It ended up, I remember Rory Nolan, who's one of the actors in it, he was in Europe somewhere, I can't remember where it was, and he was there for a funeral, and he said, he was walking down the street and Romans was being premiered in this small town. So he went inside and he said, oh, I'm in this film. And they said, oh, well, do you want to come and present it? So he said, yeah. So he took his girlfriend's family with him, and they all went and sat and watched this film. And they all, you know, got a lot from it. It's a challenging film. He said they sat round afterwards, eating, and the mother of the family was saying, it's a good film, but you know, I don't think abuse goes on in the church like they say it goes on. I don't think that's really true. I think that's a bit exaggerated. And her son at the other end of the table said, I was abused, Mum. And she said, what? This is in a room full of people. I was abused, Mum. What do you mean? He said, do you remember that priest you sent me to when I was depressed? Yeah. He sexually abused me. The film acted as an intercession for him. That was the first time he'd found the courage to reveal it. And his girlfriend went, you know, a gasp. The mother, but she couldn't deny it anymore because it happened, and it's happened to so many people. And we're as sick as our secrets, aren't we? So this is the idea is that I don't need to know what the film does. I just need to know it's got the truth. Yeah. I know it's got the truth because, as you said, exactly the same as you. It wasn't just about writing the film. That was frightening enough. It was the thought that in 2 years' time, we're going to have to go over this and we're going to have to edit it and get it right, and then it's going to go out, and then people are going to want me to talk about it. They're going to want me to stand in front of a camera. They're going to want me to go on television. They want to ask me why I forgave this person. They're going to want to know the details of the abuse. They're going to want to, you know, they're going to want to ask questions. And when they ask questions, it will be good for me because it will help me to reveal more little hidden parasites. But it's very frightening because you're just thinking, I don't want my mum to see that because I don't want my mum to be hurt. You know, I don't want my family to be hurt by my revelations. You know, these aren't, you know, some of the detail of what I've written about in notes and in Romans, you know, I've only just recently shared with my own wife. When I wrote Fragile, which was a stage play, which was a precursor to this, there was stuff in there that I had to tell my wife before we went in to watch it. This is what's going to be said, and I haven't told you this before because it was so secret. I didn't even know it was a secret, only that I was ashamed of it and that it was blackmailing me. So I decided I need to call its bluff and just say, okay, do your worst. You know, if you want to blackmail me, come in, have a sit down. Here's my wife, here's my kids. Tell them everything. In fact, you don't need to tell them. I'm going to do a play. I'm going to put it in front of everyone in Coventry. Yeah. And this play, I nearly swore, but this play would not go on anywhere else. It wouldn't go on anywhere else. No one else would have it. And I said to the director, it was a West End director, Nick Bagnall, I said, I'm happy for this play to go on anywhere, but not Coventry. I can't have this on in Coventry, it will kill me. I said, the idea that my mum might see it, or the idea that my friends might stand in front of this, you know, this play about, you know, the sexual abuse, and then my own self-abuse and my own sexual self-abuse, and the detail of that, I said, I don't want that in Coventry. But Coventry was the only place it would go on. A guy called Hamish Glenn, who's the artistic director, said, we'll put it on. And I was like, oh, God.
It's exactly what you needed.
Yeah, it was all I needed.
Yeah.
And I just kept saying to God in my head, I kept talking to my highest self, I guess, just protect my mum. I don't want my mum to be battered by this. This isn't to do with my mum. This is to do with me articulating what happened and trying to find the truth. The truth was I was blaming everybody for what happened to me. It wasn't conscious, but there was blame there. I was blaming my mum, I was blaming my dad, I was blaming the person that abused me, I was blaming the police, I was blaming society, I was blaming anybody that denied what happened to me. When I actually did the play and went through the layers, all I cared about, Ryan, all I cared about was protecting my mum. I loved my mum. I just loved her. I felt love at the very core of this. I wasn't abandoned by anybody. I thought I was abandoned by God, by my very source. This is what Julian of Norwich said. We're not afraid of being abandoned by people. We're afraid of being abandoned by God, by our source. And of course, when I got to that point, I don't know how I'd missed it, because all of my characters were screaming, shouting at God, at Buddha, at, you know, at Christ. Where the fuck were you? Where were you? And eventually I had a dialectic with God in my own head. And he said, you think I abandoned you? And I said, yeah, I did. I do think that. And he said, I didn't abandon you, but did you abandon you?